From taking out former undisputed champions like the notorious Conor McGregor to going toe-to-toe with the likes of Max Holloway, Eddie Alvarez, and Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier is one of the greatest fighters to have never won an actual title. Dustin has proven himself time and time again, but fans think it's about time that he gives up on his dreams and only pursues money fights. Dustin has cemented his legacy in the UFC and doesn't really need to win a title to further prove himself. He's already made his mark, and it's clear that he has achieved a level of success far beyond what most fighters could ever hope for. I don't think he should risk that legacy by continuing to take on just any fight he can get in order to become a title contender. He already has 7 losses under his belt, 6 of which were in the UFC. However, Poirier does have 29 wins, which is extremely impressive. He appears to be picky about the types of guys he fights. Dustin Poirier is now at a point in his career where he's able to pick and choose his opponents. Beneil Dariush expressed his interest in fighting the Diamond.
We were looking for. Who were we looking for? Poirier. That was. We were looking for that fight.
But Poirier wasn't interested in the matchup. Instead, he aimed for a rematch with Justin Gaethje. After all, he's already cemented his legacy in the UFC and doesn't need to prove himself anymore.
But he's been here before.
Gaethje nearly out on his feet. Poirier continues to land.
But he doesn't have the wherewithal to clinch.
Dustin Poirier, goodness. Knockout.
He's made it clear that he only wants to face fighters who can contribute to his career, not those who will detract from it. It's clear that Poirier is no longer chasing the title belt.
And new interim UFC lightweight champion of the world, Dustin the Diamond Poirier.
But rather looking for fights with opponents who will draw the most attention. After all, it's not like his previous attempts at getting the title were any more successful. Dustin Poirier failed twice in his attempts at capturing undisputed gold. He faced Khabib Nurmagomedov and Charles Oliveira for the title, but both times he was unsuccessful.
And still the undisputed UFC lightweight champion of the world.
With age not on his side, it looks like a third title fight could be out of reach for now. The Diamond is now 34 and doesn't look to be getting any younger. His best window of opportunity for a title shot may have already passed him by, but that's okay, because the Diamond is now in a position to chase fights that will earn him more money and notoriety. Poirier isn't interested in fighting rising contenders with little name value. He's better served looking for opponents who can add something to his career than take away from it. So now, rather than chasing a title belt, Poirier is chasing fights that will increase his bank account and give him some well-deserved recognition. But more importantly, Poirier is still a huge draw. After all, he's the man who beat the notorious back-to-back.
To his feet. McGregor covers up towards the end of the round. 1 second to go in the round.
I get excited every time I hear he's up for a new fight, and I'm sure a lot of others feel the same way. But what makes Poirier such a massive draw for fans? Well, buckle up, folks, because I'm about to give you the lowdown on why Dustin Poirier is still a force to be reckoned with within the UFC. First of all, let's talk about the man's fighting style. Poirier is a well-rounded fighter who can finish a fight with his striking or grappling. He's not afraid to engage in a brawl, but he's also savvy enough to pick his spots and look for a finish. The combination of skill and fearlessness makes for an exciting and unpredictable fight every time he steps into the octagon. Another reason why Poirier is still a massive draw is his charismatic personality. He's not just a fierce fighter, he's also a fan favorite who interacts with his fans on social media and shows his appreciation for their support. This makes him relatable and easy to root for, and fans can't help but get behind the guy who takes time to show that he cares. But let's be real. The biggest reason why Poirier is still a massive draw is because he performs best whenever he's taken on a big-name opponent.
Nice. Poirier with a big right hand. That back Nurmagomedov up. Khabib now on the retreat.
He's always the underdog when heading into these big-name fights, but he usually finds himself on top. Fans love that. They like to see him take on these big names, and more importantly, they like to see him win. I know I do. That's another reason why he should only pursue money fights. On top of that, there are a lot of potential opponents for Dustin that would still make boatloads of cash for him, his opponent, and the UFC. A matchup between Dustin Poirier and Colby Covington is a fight that's sure to light social media on fire. The two former training partners have traded barbs ever since Chaos left ATT, and there's a lot of bad blood between them. The fact that they've yet to meet inside the octagon only adds fuel to the fire. Poirier versus Covington is a fight that makes sense for both men. The Diamond can get revenge on his former teammate and maybe even establish himself as a top welterweight contender, while Chaos gets to prove he's still one of the best fighters in the division. Both men also have the potential to make a lot of money off of this matchup. It's a fight that fans have been asking for since Poirier and Covington began their war of words.
I just took care of Miami street trash. Now it's time to take care of Louisiana swamp trash. Where you at, Dustin Poirier? You said it's on site. Name the site, Dustin. Bring that wife and bring that little kid that's Carter's kid, and I'll see you soon. You're next.
So you can be sure there'll be plenty of pay-per-view buys if it does happen. Now, all we can do is wait and see if Poirier and Covington finally meet inside the octagon. It's a fight that's been a long time coming, and one that won't easily be forgotten. But I think if there's one fight that everyone wants to see, it's another fight between him and the biggest draw in UFC history. That's right, I'm talking about Conor McGregor. The rivalry between Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor
I was boxing the bleeding head off him, kicking the bleeding leg off him. Usual shite dive to close the distance. This is not over. If we had to take this outside with him, it's all outside. We don't give a
is one of the most memorable in UFC history. After first facing off back in 2014 at featherweight, which saw McGregor beat the ever-loving crap out of Dustin, the two men had to wait 7 years for their second meeting. When they did eventually clash again, it was a must-watch spectacle that ended with the Diamond scoring a stunning TKO victory. Their third and most recent encounter took place in 2021, with Poirier again emerging victorious after a brutal leg break forced the Irishman to tap out. It was an incredible display by Poirier, who had finally avenged his initial loss to McGregor. Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor need to fight each other one more time. It's the obvious move for him. Not only will it be a highly lucrative matchup with plenty of pay-per-view buys, but it's also a fight he needs in order to cement his legacy as an all-time great fighter. For McGregor, a fourth bout with Poirier gives him an opportunity to exact revenge and prove that he's still one of the best fighters in the lightweight division. It's also a chance for him to silence critics who say that his leg injury has limited his potential. I just know for a fact that McGregor can't wait to get his hands on Poirier again. I mean, do you remember how he reacted after losing to Poirier the second time? He even insulted his wife. Is Poirier gonna let McGregor talk about his wife like that? I think not. The matchup makes perfect sense, both financially and competitively. It's a fight that fans have been begging for, and one that will surely draw a ton of attention from casual and hardcore MMA fans alike. It might be time for the Diamond to accept the challenge and settle their rivalry once and for all. Do you think Poirier has more money fights left in him? See you in the next one.